Hey friends, um, it is the 28th of October, so that means I have 17 days left before I get my imaging done at MUSC, which I have been feeling a little bit like I'm trying not to think about it because I'm a kind of afraid of it, which is not entirely rational. I get that, but that's where fear comes from, is in typically, an irrational place. I'm trying to transition over to the point of welcoming the imaging so that I can get answers and that will all go fine. I've just always thought it was a little freaky to have instruments put up inside any of your vascular system, like it just seems like super fragile and you could nick it easily, and then all of a sudden you're hemorrhaging and you got to have a surgery to repair it, and just this domino effect of issues, that could be deadly or, life-threatening or whatever. So I know it's not rational. Well, it is kind of rational because with my illness, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, everything is fragile. Everything that's collagen-based is just more fragile. I know that my blood vessels have always been really stretchy. They've been that way since my 20s. I'm now 60. So that's not about to change in the next 17 days, right? So if my blood vessels are more stretchy, more fragile, then I'm hoping he's more careful with his instruments while he's pushing them up. So then my thoughts go back to, well, what am I trying to achieve from this imaging? I need it to be revealing of all the things vascular, because there's nobody here in town who's trying to help me. I go to my cardiologist and there's a possibility that what I'm reading on his face is coming from a different place in his heart, but he's standoffish and he just kind of glares at me, and he's dismissive of there being bigger issues with me, but not in a hateful, dismissive way. So it's not necessarily the things he says, it's more about his posture and what he says. Because after the testing that I had done before a couple of my surgeries at MUSC, they told me to have my aorta checked out. So I finally did that, and I went to the cardiologist here and told him that I was told to have my aorta checked out. And he was, dismissive that it could be a thing, just because I have EDS. I don't have vascular EDS, so it's probably not a thing, which I don't like that attitude. Like, just because I don't have vascular EDS doesn't mean that I would not have an aorta issue. It doesn't. We have a lot of vascular issues in hypermobile EDS. So, that alone just kind of shows that he was narrow-minded, but it's more about his posture. So I know that I can't go back to him and say, well, maybe I could, once I have something validated at NUSC and said, I've got this issue up here that they're looking at, but I need someone looking at the clavicle, and I need someone looking at the lower abdomen area too. Could you do that? I don't see that going well. I just don't, just because he's not open-minded to learning about EDS. So then it goes back to the doctor who's going to be doing this testing on the 14th and say, I know that you're not necessarily concentrating on these other areas, but I need somebody to look at these areas and see if he will. So that's another thing that I need to make sure I get accomplished. I also need to make sure that he doesn't put in any stent while he's in there, because I can't sign off on that yet. I looked at some alternatives to metal stents. And sorry, I'm trying to get to where I'm not touching my ear but supporting my head. It is so difficult to lie down, but this is the only position that I can be in where I have the least amount of head pressure to build up. I kind of have to have my head tilted forward when I'm actually sleeping, and then I don't get head pressure build up. But my ear hurts really badly. Anyway, for 3 years, actually 2.5 years, because it all got really bad after the OC fusion. But for the first 7 months after the OC fusion, there was no comfortable position. And then it wasn't until the hardware was taken out that I got to where I could, I got a lot of relief from the mastoid pains on both sides, bilateral. And then I could try to figure out how to sleep on this left side. Anyway, so excuse me for fidgeting with my position here. Okay, so I've looked up a couple of different types of metal stents, and no, that's not an accurate statement. I have used ChatGPT and Google to try to find alternatives to metal stents used in the skull base area. Excuse me. And been sipping on my Dr. Pepper, which I need to do some more of because I got to get this caffeine in me. This is another thing I wanted to talk about briefly because I was talking about it yesterday. I did 3 videos about it, and that's all I could get done yesterday. I did those 3 videos, and then my brain was toast because I had to set up for it. So I'm trying to make sure I lie down. I can talk more about that too in a second if you're listening to a longer video. If you're up to listening to a longer video. Gosh, where was I? The metal stents. So there is something that's kind of a silicone kind of product. And I think the negative side to it is it has an increased risk of creating clots. And so it has an anticoagulant substance on it for that reason. But then I have to go and dive into it and find out what is that anticoagulant. What is the base of it? Is there a coconut oil that's used in it? Is there anything else that I'm allergic to? That kind of thing. It's just a really deep dive. And again, I'm not a chemist, I'm not a biochemist, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just a patient with a very complicated, complex body that's ridiculously sensitive to everything under the sun. And in order to keep my life going, I have to be as nuanced as possible on all the things because nobody else is doing it. I know that if you watch ER or Grey's Anatomy or any of those TV shows about how things happen in a medical arena, you have a false sense of what that looks like. Trust me, it doesn't. In reality, just because you're complicated and people can be curious about you, it doesn't mean that you get higher level of help. It means you get left behind 98% of the time. So you have to be the one who does the nuanced thinking. So I'm continuing to try to form my thoughts and put down into notes what I need to accomplish with that venogram and angiogram, and trying to change my thoughts about, I'm sorry I keep on looking off screen, but it's pretty outside. We're up to a balmy 55 today. And I've got a scarf on inside the house because it keeps me warmer, and I don't want to I can take it off later whenever the house and everything warms up, but I don't want to wear a turtleneck or anything yet. So I'm trying to create my thoughts for him and change my thoughts about the studies being done, that there are opportunities to learn, they're safe, It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be good. I need this information. I need this engagement with this doctor so that he can be willing to take me from here to the other side of this situation. I'd love it if he could also address CSF leak. He won't be able to because that's not his area, but I was hoping that maybe he could like direct me to somebody else, so that I have an alternative besides the Ohio doctor, just in case the Ohio doctor doesn't pan out to be the right one. Supposedly getting the CSF leaks treated, identified, and fully sealed can be a very complex thing. And so there are just a few centers that are considered expert's not the right word, but the premier clinics in the nation, and you've got wait times to get into them that are very, very long. So if I need to identify somebody besides the doctor in Ohio, I need to go ahead and do that. Anyway, so that's something else that's on my radar, and I'm trying to reframe my mindset about the testing. That I need to tell myself I'm looking forward to it. My last surgery was pretty minor. They just took out the screws of my ACDF. I wasn't under for 45 minutes, and I came out of that with a torn rotator cuff and ribs that wouldn't stay in place. I don't know, things like that make you kind of realize that you're fragile and people can mess you up while you're unconscious. I won't be unconscious for the test, but I will probably be some version of loopy. I think they give you something that's kind of like the same anesthesia that you get whenever you get a colonoscopy. They say you're aware, which is not like a colonoscopy, but I don't know. I haven't experienced it yet. We will see. It's going to be a new experience. I am in a hospital setting. I will be with professionals, so it will be okay. Something before I forget, I wanted to make a statement to everybody who's been contributing to my GoFundMe. With the first of the month coming up, I was able to pay some bills last night, and I've reserved enough. I think I've reserved enough to pay for my hotel bill, because that is going to be going on my credit card. So they won't bill me yet, right? So I didn't pay for it in full yet. And then for the gas there, a friend's going to take me. I still got to make sure I got it to do, the Ubering and I'm sorry, we won't have Ubering because a friend's taking me. But the food, so that's really the only other big variable, and just other expenses and food, my own food here and everything. I stocked up last week on groceries, so I feel like I'm okay on groceries. But all of this has provided me, the GoFundMe donations have provided me some peace. Since the GoFundMe started coming in, I started sleeping. Like, I've been getting like 9 hours. And that's great. And honestly, if I didn't have to come downstairs to let Ruby out, I probably could get more sleep. It's kind of odd for me. I don't sleep that well at all. And this was with me having a lot of caffeine too. It's weird, but I think it's about peace, that there's going to be a path out of this, and you guys are making that possible. So thank you. Thank you so very much. This is just the beginning. I hate to say that, but, I need more yet, and there's no movement on my disability claim. I checked on that just a couple of days ago. Could be some movement since then, but nothing that I'm aware of. Since they haven't approved it yet or denied it yet, I'm kind of hoping that they don't until I can get the results of these tests done the middle of this month and put that in the portal. And that would probably, hopefully, seal any deal. The information we learn from that would probably, hopefully, seal the deal if they're trying to make a decision. Like saying, no, we've got verifiable evidence that there's still a lot going on with this woman. So I still can't imagine why they're not just looking at the one condition that says, oh, she's got a spinal cord injury. She's got her head fused to the 10 degrees to the right and it's tilted up. She's had 2 dethetherings. Those are pretty indicative of a body that's kind of broken. Why is there weeks and weeks of evaluating my case? I don't know. Yeah. So my point is, thank you guys for everybody who has been contributing. I got to figure out how to expand my reach with my requests, because I don't want to continue to get more donations from the same group of people. That's just awful to do to you guys. I don't want to be any one person's burden. I don't want to be anybody's burden. I want to be independent. I've been independent my entire life, and to be in a position where I've got to ask for help like this, it's just one of the ways that you get humbled in this world in ways that matter to you, because that's how we transform and evolve and grow to be better humans. Well, this is one of those big ways for me, because this is hitting hard. It's really hard to do this. But everything is ridiculously hard. Like I said, I made 3 videos yesterday about caffeine, and it wiped me out. I sat up for too long that I could not get my brain working well enough afterwards. I could not get the volume of CSF back in my brain enough. I was thinking I could sit at my computer at my project table and do some stuff, but I was just like a zombie. I couldn't. That's not living, and that's not productivity, and that's very frustrating. So there's not a lot I can do for myself right now to better this situation, but I have to get on the other side of it because I need help. I owe it to my grandchildren. I owe it to all of my family members and friends to not get worse. And the only way I can do that is with the support of a lot of people. So thank you for everybody who's been contributing. I did want to mention the caffeine thing. This has, I've already forgotten, I think it's 58 milligrams, I think it said. Let me see. Yeah, 58 milligrams in this whole container. And of course, we talked about yesterday getting the carbonation along with it. It's not ideal, but thinking if I just get one, hopefully it's not the end of the world. I can't start off with a hot drink. I have my hot drink behind the camera, and that's my green tea pomegranate. And I'm trying to do the green tea because it's different than a black tea as far as mold content goes. But it's got a range of caffeine. It's 25 to 50. Why can't they say exactly how much caffeine is in that little tea bag? I don't understand that. Anyway, okay, so if I got 58 and say that's 30, then I'm 88. So I'm only 88. The pills, the lowest amount for pills I could get was 100. I could find some that was less. I found one that was 15, but it was packed full of all kinds of fillers. and I know 15 is going to be an inconsequential amount. The only way a 15 milligram one would come in handy is if it's like already in the afternoon and I need just a little bit. I don't know. I just need to get my caffeine through a pill so I get a uniform amount. I don't have to consume something I don't need, and that is also complicating my body. Because like I said, I had gained like 3 pounds of water weight, and it had to do, clearly, has to do with the fact that I'm not drinking enough water, because I'm drinking so much of another liquid. I need to go back to my electrolytes being how I start my day, because I need that. My body needs fluid management in general, not just CSF fluid. CS, cerebral spinal fluid, is a big deal. Blood volume, keeping that in my blood in my brain, and edema or not having edema, all these things. Having enough hydration, not having too much hydration. It's a balance. It's work. Where I was looking at the supplements yesterday when I was trying to find a caffeine pill. And I was thinking, the people that can just hop online and say, oh, I want to take a vitamin C, or I want to take a caffeine supplement, and then just pick one because of price, and then their bodies perform fine. Y'all don't know how blessed you are. You can just go to a restaurant, pick anything on the menu based off flavor, and just eat it and not have any negative consequences. That's amazing. My go-to saying is that I'm going to eat when I get to heaven. There's a banquet table there set out for me, is what I've been told, and I'm not getting up from the banquet table. I'm going to just say right there. Not quite sure why there's a banquet table in heaven. Are we going to need to eat? I don't know. There's streets of gold. Are we going to be doing a lot of walking? I don't know. Sounds like we're going to be in one of Trump's penthouses or something. With all the gold. I don't mean to make fun of it, but just trying to be funny that, I can't eat like the normal person, which is why I do the carnivore diet, so that I can get good nutrition and have savory food, which is lovely. I just can't have a variety of tastes. So with that, I'm going to close this out. I've got a stack of letters and writings that my aunt has sent me that's behind the camera here, that I'm going to try to look at while I'm lying here today. From this position, it's hard to do anything. I can, spend moments on my back and stuff like that, and then I can spend moments setting up and moments on my other side, but then the vascular compression issues start to pile up. So it's just a damned if you do and damned if you don't kind of situation. You just make the best of it. Eventually help is coming and things will be corrected. There's just a lot of things that need to be corrected. There's been 16 surgeries so far. I don't know how many more is in my future. I don't need to think about it right now. I just need to believe that they're coming, that help is coming. We'll see what's in front of us. But what I'm going to do today is make the best of this day, the best I can. And as I say, keep moving my needle in some way. I can probably get my computer over here on my lap, do a few things sitting here. If I have enough caffeine, I can, I'm kind of inclined now, but not too badly. But maybe I can get in a little bit, a better variety of positions. I did do better this weekend, staying in motion. Like I had a lot of caffeine, and I stayed in motion. I can't stand or sit in one spot without hypotension in the skull, because the leaking, just the fluid just pours out. Kind of think about it in that way. But if you stay in motion, the activity of the muscles pumping and the heart pumping helps to keep more spinal fluid in the brain. And that's great, but I can't stay in motion. I mean, I've got other issues too, orthopedic issues and those kinds of things. And I'm not supposed to bend, lift, or twist to keep the spinal fluid leak from getting worse. So there's only so much staying in motion you can do. The cooking was great. That was a good kind of staying in motion. And I might do more of that later. I've got a beef liver I need to cut up. I keep that frozen, and I cut it into bites, little half-inch bites, and then I saute that up at one time, and then I freeze it. And that, in my way, is like a vitamin. I don't want to just set down to a plate of liver, but I don't mind a little bit of liver on my plate. So I'll just put a few bites onto a plate, and sometimes I'll just eat it plain, and it's fine. I used to like chicken livers. Seems like Publix has those. I have to check next time. I haven't had those in a long, long time. But that's one of the ways that a carnivore gets a lot of their vitamins. But I do take a multivitamin just in case I'm not getting enough. And all my blood work is fine so far. I've been on this diet for 11 months this time. Did it once before for, like 7 months. I did it for a couple of months after the OC fusion, but I just had so much nausea build up, and I think it was because of the vascular compression that I couldn't eat it for some reason. It didn't make sense, but so I went back onto just a regular diet. My son was here too, and it was just easier to just eat normal, standard food that he was eating. But I feel so much better on it. I kid you not, I will stay on this as long as it's working. This is what I need to do. Doesn't mean that I can't, sneak a bite of somebody's birthday cake at their birthday party, or, I don't know, what other kind of treat. Went to a church function several months ago, and I took Brussels sprouts. And because it was an affordable thing that I could take and easily cook, and I had a bunch of Brussels sprouts. Shoot me. All right, my friends, take care. Enjoy your day. Thanks for being here on this journey with me.